parents never took my side and overlooked my feelings because she always fulfilled their expectations, so I kind of distanced myself from them as a child and teen. She always had friends over at our place when parents were at work. Her friends would mess with my room too, and once they even messed up my project and I almost failed. I was going to tell mom about that, but then Dove blackmailed me by saying that she would share my ugly pictures with my classmates, and as a 14-year-old, I got really scared. She never took responsibility for her actions, and telling my parents was pointless cause they never paid attention anyways. She did a bunch of stuff that made me hate her guts. Mom never had my back, but dad would sometimes call her out. Once she used my phone to send weird pics of mine to my girls group because I complained to dad about her. Then she spilled coffee on my prom dress and played all victim by crying and saying that she accidentally did. So, I stopped confiding in him. I don't get why she had this much hate for me. Later I realized that she was a narcissist and it had nothing to do with me. She was a major red flag in her relationship and literally cheated on every guy she dated. I hate to admit it, but she was a gold digger too. Her ex still being my friend says it all. Basically, she was pretty evil as a teen, and as an adult, nothing changed. Her behavior went downhill. It was all my parents' fault because they never tried to discipline her. Anyways, things started getting better after school. I worked hard to get into my dream college, and after a few initial years of struggle, landed my dream job. There I met the love of my life, Atlas, at an office conference. He was smart, kind, and handsome. We got connected instantly, and it was within a few months that we started going out on dates. We traveled a lot for vacations, date trips, and treks, and it kind of helped our relationship strong. Atlas was tight with his siblings, so he introduced me to his brothers and parents just a few months into the relationship, but I took my own sweet time to introduce him to my parents. The main reason I delayed this was because of my sister, Dove, and her evil intentions. I always had a nagging feeling that she would mess up everything. She was the one who always got the best thing as a child and as a teenager, and now that my life was sailing better than hers, I'm sure she would not be able to take it, especially the relationship part. However, I could not delay for longer. Atlas was getting suspicious of my reluctance to introduce my family. So after a year and a half of dating, I told dad about it. He was happy that I found myself a man who was worthy of me. He invited us for dinner. I was excited but equally stressed because I know Dove can go to any lengths to screw up my life. Though Atlas knew about my family dynamics, I still discussed Dove in detail. He was chill about it and said he'd handle things. A few days later, to my call to dad, I got a call from Dove. It was surprising because she had never called me before. She was asking me about Atlas and when I would be visiting home. She was more interested in knowing details about Atlas. I'm guessing mom would have told her that I was dating this guy and we are pretty serious. Now she's all trying to get cozy with me, and I was aware of the reason behind her interests. Now, I'm worried about whether I should really take the risk of introducing Atlas to Dove because I know her intentions are not good. I'm also thinking of an alternative to calling my parents over at my place to introduce Atlas. Update 1. Thanks for all the cool advice. A few of you commented asking more about Dove. Here we go. It's true that my parents, specifically my dad's stance, changed about my sister after her divorce, and she has ruined it for herself. She was very good academically, but as soon as she got into college, her whole focus was on her body and beauty. Dove met this guy, Jeremy, who was super rich, and got into a relationship with him, ditching her studies. I was prepping for my college entrance exams during my school final year, and she kept saying that I would never get my dream college, but I did. For the first time, I got validation from my parents. They were happy and proud of me. But my sister was envious when all the attention was on me and not on her. My parents organized a celebration party with close family and friends for my achievement. She wanted to ruin my party and hog all the attention, so she announced her engagement to Jeremy right there. You could clearly tell from Jeremy's expression that he had no clue about this, but she was successful in her mission of making that day about hers. Everyone got enthusiastic to know about Jeremy because he was apparently rich as per my sister. Dove always showed me the expensive gifts he bought her and would say that I'd never land a rich husband because I'm ugly and nobody would want to date someone like me, constantly making me feel bad. I told her that I'm not a gold digger like her and can pay my own bills while she can have the rich husband she wants. She was evil overall and was the most selfish person I've ever met in my life. A week later, Dove and Jeremy got engaged and I was already off to college and did not attend the engagement. During college, I never had any conversation with her. Going home for holidays felt good because Dove was living with Jeremy. Even during holidays, she would off-tour vacations to exotic locations with Jeremy. After a year of dating, they got married at a lavish wedding. Of course, the majority of the expenses were covered by Jeremy. Dad paid for the remaining as a courtesy because she didn't earn anything. Their marriage sustained for a brief period, and after 3 years of their marriage, they got divorced. The reason I got to know was Dove didn't want to have a baby, but Jeremy was eager to become a father. Though he told me he never forced Dove but hated how she never disclosed her preference before and kept avoiding the conversation for 3 years. He also mentioned her drinking and partying habits, flirting with guys in bars, and that she married him only for money and had no emotional connection. I wondered if he was stupid to not know her motive for so long. Jeremy showed me videos where Dove would go out drinking with guys and they would touch her appropriately and she wouldn't stop them. Good for him that he got rid of her. My parents sided with Dove and put all the blame on Jeremy for forcing her to have kids, never admitting Dove's fault. After the divorce, Dove moved in with my parents because she was not earning. She dropped out of college to marry Jeremy, and now after 5 years, she had no college degree and no work experience. She put up an act of being traumatic because of the divorce, but in real she was happy being free. Within a month of her divorce, she was back to her game of clubbing and hookups. Her life seemed to revolve around weekly dates and ditching people. Her Instagram stories were enough to let me know what she was really up to. After 2 years of my career, I landed my dream job, with great money, and my parents were thrilled. I visited home after the job offer and Dad was so proud of me. I couldn't be happier. We were having dinner when Dove returned home, looking partially drunk. Dad was upset at her sight and said Dove should have pursued education like me and not messed up her life behind Jeremy, showing how much I was earning, and that Dove was still dependent on them for money. Mom asked Dad not to make such comments. Hearing this, Dove lost it, slamming the door. That's when Dad realized how spoiled Dove was. He told Mom to put some sense in Dove, that she needs to take her life seriously and get back to her feet instead of leeching on them. I think Dove heard that because later she came into my room and told me that I could never be like her, no matter how much money I made. She body shamed me, pointing at my belly fat and chubby cheeks. I was just fed up with her. As a teen, I used to be heartbroken with all these comments, but now I just don't care. I laughed at her and said I really didn't want to be like her, and she clearly